So welcome back to another video, and this is kind of a summary of what we did in February mostly. I apologise in advance because it's mostly going to be the same kind of thing. So as you can see, we're back to the bridle and the metal bit, and I did a lot of research on YouTube about different bridling techniques, and I saw this one which is a little bit different from the typical English way, and that's putting your arm over the head like that, grabbing the bridle and then lining the bit up with the mouth. So you can see Donkey's a little bit bored and not quite sure what I'm doing. But what I was trying to do is firstly get her to relax with it. So you can see I'm not pulling the bit up into her mouth, but I'm putting it next to the mouth and then opening her mouth with my thumb and trying to get her to relax with that process. Now, it wasn't really going very well to start with, so then I tried to do the more English way and have the bridle in my right hand and around her nose to keep her head down. So I kind of alternated to see how it would go. Now if you're like me and you have a horse that's tricky to bridle, I'd recommend testing different things. You can see she's pulling back quite a bit, but the important thing is to stick with it. Like, I'm not hurting her at all. She's reversing because she's not sure what to do, but the point is I'm trying to teach her there's nothing to escape from. And then every time she stops resisting, I release. So I'm not opening her mouth, forcing her, and then just pushing the bit in. But I want her to know when the bit goes near your mouth, that's when you're supposed to open your mouth. And you can see we're fighting a little bit, but she's already stopped raising her head as much. And then the moment she drops her head, I release it and say, good girl. It's a lot more tiring than it looks, keeping your arm that high, especially when your horse is resisting. See, when she moved too far, then I couldn't really keep my hand up there, but it's important not to let it phase you and to try and just stay with it. So it will take a lot of time. And again, she goes back to throwing her head up, but she relaxes a lot quicker, and that's the important part. You can see there that she really dropped her head nicely. And I give her a big pat and say, well done, that's exactly what I wanted. And then we try again. And I wanted to see if she'd accept the bit, but you could see that she starts playing with it more than actually trying to open her mouth. She's more just using her lips to move it around. So then again, we go back and trying it. And as boring as it is to watch, it was a lot more tedious at the time. But it's completely worth it, because the end result now, I mean, she bridles fantastically, and you'll see that in another video soon, where I'll show you how to tack up a horse. So again, I've opted for putting the arm over the head. And you can see it's a little bit easy there. I don't think she was as impressed, hence the walking off. But it's okay, I'd rather leave her completely loose, because that way she knows that she's not trapped. So the good thing is, with putting the arm over the head, is that she kind of learns to keep her head lower down, especially with time. Although there is a little bit too low, but that's okay. She's got the right idea. You can see again, put my thumb in her mouth, getting her to try and just calm down a little bit. So you can see already now, just from one session, she's going for the bit. So although she's not, see, she panicked then, and that's okay. I couldn't keep the bit still because obviously it went underneath her chin. But it's okay, because you can see she's getting the right idea. and she starts to play with it more, and she's opening her mouth in a weird way, but it's still opening her mouth. And you can see again, she knows what she's supposed to do is she's moving the lips about when the bit comes close to her mouth. It's just, she's a nervous horse and she had some bad experiences with the bridle when she was younger. So the metal bit was a bit of a step up from the happy mouth that you saw in the last video. It's all about repetition, and I think for a long time I was fearful of doing the wrong thing and making the situation worse, and you can see she's definitely not easy to deal with. I think I kind of broke her at that point because she just was constantly playing with her lips, whether the bit was there or not. But see, it's about perseverance, and I think as long as you're trying your bit. See there, she was holding it in her teeth and it looks really uncomfortable for her, but I'm not putting too much pressure on her. I'm being calm and I'm letting her figure it out. And you see, we got there. She opened her mouth, the bit was in. So then, now that we accomplished that bit, we'll change the kind of session for a bit and just do a little bit of lunging, which was the first real time we managed to this year because of the weather. You see she's quite distracted, but the bit doesn't bother her at all once she's got it. She's more than happy just to chill out. And I think if you are training a horse, especially that's nervous with the bit, just forget about a noseband for a while, because it adds more hassle. Just focus on the headpiece and the bit. So I tried to make the session a little bit more interesting, and you can see we've got a few poles out, and I tried to get her to trot over them, but it didn't really happen. It was quite a windy day, so she was very distracted, but that's okay. One of the other things that we're working on this year is not to worry about distractions. And obviously that takes time and practice. So you can see she's ready to trot, she's doing it, and she goes straight for the poles, and it's perfect, because that's the first time we did them this year. So again, it's all about repetition and giving her a chance. She's not very confident with trotting downhill, which is why I kind of just let her walk. And I let her relax as soon as she does it, and then again we'll build up from that. Because again, it's important to make sure to do it on both sides, because if you just train one side, then you change direction, they won't know what to do. I kind of let her do it in walk to start with, because she is nervous, and although I would love it that she'd have the confidence to do whatever I asked her, I know that for the moment that's not happening. So we compromise and we say, okay, you have a look at it first, take your time, and then we'll do it my way. So you can see she's starting to develop a bit more of an outline, but she's a little bit stiffer on that side in terms of turning. Like, she just kind of turns her head and not her body as much. And then it's downhill, which is more of an issue, and you can see that already with how she's doing it and trying to avoid it. She has a tendency to look towards the shelter and try and go back there. But it's okay, we ignore those little bits and we say, no, we're carrying on. We're doing what I want. So you can see she refused there, but I tried to persevere and say, no, we are doing it. And she's learning slowly not to refuse. So now this is her version of a compromise, which is I'll do it, but at my speed. And that's all right for now. Wouldn't be ideal with jumping though, but you can see then she's willing to do it in trot. And that's fantastic. See, I'm swinging the rope kind of towards her eyes, more like a Pat Borelli type thing. And as you can see, we're a little bit all over the place. Lunging has never been one of my strengths, and it's not really great to lunge them anyway because of the muscle they build, so I more just use a lunge line so that I don't have to run alongside her. Then again, we're swapping sides, letting her see it over more. But you can see she's happier to do it in trot. And then this time, rather than slowing down to a walk, we try and keep up the trot. Keep up momentum. And then she does it. So she rushes it a little bit, but that's fantastic. So now, again, it's another day. And we're practicing with the bridle again. So the same kind of thing, bring it to her mouth and let her figure it out. So I don't ask her to actually accept the bit straight away. It's more to give her a chance to know what's happening. So again, she's throwing her head up, and that's okay. We're staying patiently, trying to keep my distance from all the head movements, but just figuring it out. And you see, she accepts it then without too much of a problem. She's not stressed about it, and that's the main aim. Because for so many years she was scared about it. Now the challenging bit is dropping it, because that's where she normally freaks out. So I'm keeping myself out of the way and then just slowly loosening it until she's ready to drop it. And she throws her head up and she pulls it, but the good thing is she didn't hold on to it, not for long anyway. So again, another day now, having another chance, and you can see she is really trying. Let me say, all right, drop it, it's okay. She started to figure out that she could just drop her head too low so I couldn't actually reach. And then again, she kind of, to begin with, she had the tendency, once she understood what it was about, she would grab it in her teeth and almost shuffle the bit into her mouth. But it's fantastic because you see already very quickly she was happy. So that was the first time we tacked her up as well this year, which was a whole other issue before, because you do it with the girth and she'd start twitching. And see, that hesitation there, that's the nervousness that comes with having something on her back. And whenever she stops suddenly, that's kind of when I lose balance, and I just want to teach her that it's okay to keep going forwards and to power through, even if something's bothering you. So she's trying. And you can see it's a very, very lazy trot. And I had to get the whip out on this instance because she knows then I mean business. Whereas if I just have the rope, all that ends up happening is that I get in a bit of a tangle. Whereas at least with the whip I can give a clear cue. So you see I'm not really focusing on an outline or getting her even to properly power through. It's just to kind of have a trot where she can feel the saddle move around and learn not to worry about it. And then you see she is more confident uphill, and then downhills where she really, really struggles, which she has done for a long time. I think it's to kind of do with her balance and muscle. She's just not very confident and she tends to trip. And then we stop and she's already standing square, which is great, and then tell her well done. I think it's important to always reassure your horse, because I think they may not understand words, but they definitely understand feelings. And it's good for them to know that you're happy with them and that they're doing the right kind of thing. And actually, it encourages them. I see the difference in her when I'm genuinely really happy with something that she's done. So this, going this way around is, she's tends to be actually more confident anyway. So you see she's happy to go straight into trot. No real hesitation. And then downhill she starts to slow down. You can see the saddle moving around a little bit, but she's continuing to trot, and that's all I'm really asking for this moment. And I'm trying to get her to stand. And I try to use my body language to kind of indicate to her that I want her to stop. But as you can see, it's quite a delayed reaction. Then again, it's the big moment of taking the bridle off. And I tried to keep hold of it up and in her mouth, which was a bit difficult when she threw her head up, but then I tried to let her figure it out of how to drop it. And see, already that's so much better than the last time. So again, a bit of a windy day, which is always a little bit nerve-wracking. So again, you can see, well actually you can see that I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm trying to be as relaxed as I possibly can. And that already was a lot quicker. So you can see, although the first session with trying that new technique, it took a long time. Donkey's always wondering where his treats are. He doesn't understand why Carrie got so many at the time. But you can see that I'm genuinely pretty happy, because although it took a long time, you can actually see the progress now. So taking it off again, just waiting for her to figure it out herself. And doing my best to make sure it doesn't drop out. And you can see she's completely not stressed. They're quite the pair. So again, the other day, you can see it already with her mouth. She's ready to get the bit and line it up with the teeth. So that was more of a struggle. I'm not too keen when she goes backwards, but at the time I was trying not to pay too much attention to it. Because there's that fine line, isn't there, between making sure they don't do something or then actually making a problem when there isn't really one. So you can see she's struggling, she's not sure what to do. But every time she kind of lowers her head, then I release the pressure. She definitely wasn't having a good time. She wanted to do her own thing that day. And who can blame her? It's a nice day. The first one in a while. But already you can see she's putting her head lower, so she knows what she's supposed to do. She's just trying to figure out how to do it. So again, if your horse does this, try not to worry too much. Just stick with them, and you see, then she accepted it and she's fine. I think my main aim with her is that there's never any, there should never be any real stress. And I think especially when you're training a horse, it's important to give yourself plenty of time. So if bridling them takes half an hour, it takes half an hour. If it takes 1 minute, it takes 1 minute. So you can see again, she's already a little bit more confident on the lunge this time. And that's all we can really ask for. Try to work on transitions so that I don't just ask her to continually just trot in a circle, because that can get a little bit boring, a little bit tedious. So I try and keep her responsive to voice commands. So again, she kind of wanted to finish the session there, but you just ask him to carry on. Donkey likes to observe. He's a pretty good foreman. See, she kind of hesitated again going downhill because she's not really that confident doing that. But it's good that she's already responding to when I'm asking her to go back into trot. And you kind of have to pick and choose your battles. So yes, you know what your horse, or you know what you want your horse to do, but they might not be able to do that yet. And you have to accept it and then lower the standards a little bit and then try again next time. And just progress like that. So again, you could see that I was trying to use my body language to get her to slow down, but it didn't really work for getting her to stand, which is why voice commands are so important. So then again, you do it the other way. And you can see that she is a lot more confident. Because again, I'm using my body language because she wasn't listening to the walk command. So she knew that I wanted her to trot in the saddle and become comfortable in the trot. So she just kind of continued doing that, even if I was asking her to walk. And I think it's important to make sure they listen, because once you've got the basics, then the next level up you go is more secure than if you kind of compromise and say, oh, they're not completely listening, but it's all right, it's safe. I think it's important to be as safe as is possible with horses, especially. And you learn as you go. Different horses respond in different ways, and evidently body language is not something that works for her. Like, she's just not paying attention to what I'm doing. So for me, what I do now is I'll say the voice command, and then I'll just give a gentle tug on the lunge line. And then now, thankfully, she's responding to the voice cues a lot better. But it takes time to figure out what works for you and what works for your horse. So don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't go well. Just be patient. It takes them time to learn what you want and what you don't. So it was a pretty good lunging session, I thought. It wasn't really about fitness, but we started working on voice commands, and you could see that by the end of the session, she was a lot more comfortable with the saddle. There wasn't really any moment that she hesitated, whereas in the previous one, there was quite a few moments where she wanted to stop. So then the moment of truth with the bridle again. Gently over the ears, give her time. Stand to the side so you don't get whacked in the face, and immediately better. So thanks for watching.